Tag 2 bab 1 mulai. So, good afternoon everybody. My lecture today, our theme is how DNA could be worked. So, in this time today, we could possibility separate to three understanding subject, but is commonly for biology understanding uh, how to make sense for this. So our theme today is how DNA is formed. In biology, we could to say it from basic rule is our humanity is come from Adam and Eve. First, the look at this. So the basic number one is the basic rule. The basic rule of how our DNA is work is we start from Adam parental. Adam has Adam has two parental which is the same of X and X, but Hawa or Eve is have parental not same like Adam, but we in biology approaching mathematically subject to understand we separate to X and Y. So X and X, the first X is come from Adam. So whole basic of X and double X this is from Adam parental of how to DNA is work. And then if we have X and Y. So how this could be become like this? So basically in biology we understand if we have chromosome in each of cell. In human we have 23 chromosome, which is we could possibly separate like commonly come from Adam, and like in the Holy Quran on Holy Bible we same understand that Eve is come from the Adam, so we add this Y to symbolize of Eve, which is we have X and Y to basic rule of understand how DNA of male and female can be mathematically calculated. Okay, next, after we understand how the basic rule of the DNA is work, we now in step 2, which is we entrance of basic crossing. So now we approach how to mathematically we understand to how DNA is works. First of all is we must know if the P1 or parental one, which is we have the Adam and Eve, or male or female, we could be this is X and crossing with Y to symbolize of the Adam and Eve. So after we know the parental one, we next down to separate the gamete of the DNA itself. From Adam, we know the X is we double it X and X. We crossing with the if DNA separate is we have X and Y. After we got this parental one and gamete, now we entrance the parental two, which is this is the interesting way to we understand how the DNA is work with mathematically biology. So now we have the we make a table to understand. So let's look at this. So in here we have the female and we have the male. We make a table to understand. So we in female we have X and Y, and then in male we have X and X. So we just put it on like the CBD graph to crossing this DNA. So we in this first table we have X and X, and the second one we have X and Y, and the third one we have X and X, and the fourth, the last, we have X and Y. So now, what is the conclusion of this whole set of table? So this is the table we have, and from this we can see it. We have the conclusion is the 4 parental 2, or we can say it in the number. So in XX, or which is the male, and the XY, or which is the female or the if. So the possibility number of this the left table we have two parental, so we can write it this 2, and the same this we have 2 God. So the probability of this number of the crossing of DNA, how this work is 50%. So if you multiply, of you can correctly the adjust or to combine. So we have 4, and this is we have 100 absolutely percent. So when DNA is work is same to how to we predict the birth of baby male or baby female. So the probability of baby male is same is 50%, and the probability of the birth of baby female is same is 50%. So it's how the basic rule, the basic crossing, how DNA is works. See, okay? Now after we understand of the basic rule of DNA works, so the next step of we can be able to understand how exactly is DNA is works. So I will use this approaching. So in biology lecture we have the blood type crossing DNA. So before we enter the table of or the approaching mathematically biology, so we must understand this table of the basic rule, or we call it in always is the rumus. The rumus is if we have blood type of A, so we can the basic sentence of gamete A, we have ER, and then EO. This is the basic rule of the blood type A. Next, the blood type of B, same, we just change the words EB, and then EO. And more, we have 2 left of blood types, so this next table. Next, we have AB. So the gamete of the AB is ER, EB, and just this, just once for AB, and then the left blood type of the gamete, the basic rule of the rumus we must to remember is EO. So this 4 type. So in human we have 4 type blood, which is the A, B, and O, and then right this table we have the basic rule or the rumus for the gamete of each of the blood type be able to crossing again. Okay, let me give you some example. So in case we have some male, which is he have blood type of for example is AB, and he married with woman with the blood type of O, and then we crossing it after we got the parental one. Next, we must separate the gamete. The gamete of AB is EA, EB. We crossing it with the female blood type gamete. So the gamete type of the female. So the female is the blood type is O. The gamete we have is EO. Now next we entrance the P2, the parental 2. So we have his. So this one, the female, we crossing it with the male gamete before. So the female we have EO. We can also use the approach of tabel graph to make it easy. EO. And then the male we have EB. So just we crossing it like this one. We have the first graph, this is EO, and then the next one is EO, and then the bottom graph we have EO, and the left one we have EO. So it's just the same of a half probability. So last one, not the last one, the result of this conclusion is we have two gamete of EO, which is the blood type of R, and then we have the gamete of EO, which is the blood type of P. So when some male have the blood type of AB crossing with he married with some girl have blood type of O, so the future of their child is probability 50-50% be able to have blood type of A or blood type of B. Just some before 50% and 50%. But this interesting one is if we use the same graphic as I told you before, so in this one is the male and this one is the female. So the interesting one of we get the result in approaching of blood type crossing or how to DNA is work. So if some male have blood type of AB married with some woman with blood type of O, their future child be able to have probability in male have blood type of A 25% and male blood type of B 25%. It's the same rule we can be able to have in the future if we have the girl child. So if we separated this probability from 50% to 50%, we can separate again this 50% to a half of this, or which is 25%. So it's just DNA is complicated to understand in many ways, but our researcher use so many approaching how to we be able to understand the blood type crossing and how exactly DNA is works. Okay, for the last one, before we close this lecture for today, I have a question for you. So, if in case we have a male of blood type of A and he married with some woman with blood type of AB, so what is the result of the probability we could be able to have? And I will I will tell you one approaching again how DNA is work. So if we resume our lecture today, so we got the basic rule and then the blood type approaching and then the last one exactly is a little bit too long to I be able to explain. So I will I will get it easy for you to understand. So the symptom approaching in how DNA is work is have some many basic rule or the rules. For example, is how can be the nobility of the royal bloodline in Europe almost inches, and how the case like how like the Mary Antoinette married with his cousin the Louis XVIII from Spain, and they have their child is so many symptoms. So this case is just a simple example we can understand how DNA is works. For like example, in British monarch, they have a queen, which is they have a symptom like anemia and like the less of the white blood. So actually the symptoms, so many symptoms, we can understand it with the DNA working. Like the basic rule I told you before, like the blood type is same to with symptom approaching. But is I be able to say we must if we be able to understand this third approaching, I guess we must do some fifth SKS to done it. So later I will tell you how this symptom approaching and how DNA is work is easy to understand, but literally not. So I hope you search in YouTube if you be able to understand. So thank you class for joining my lecture today. I hope this our theme today in biology lecture and the theme is how DNA is works for you all could be able to understand it. So and the last, don't forget your homework. I will correct this. So send this to classroom. Literally not texting, just write on paper, not text. So thank you for joining my class today. See you next time in our next lecture.